Welcome, brave souls, to Paranormal Stew, where the mysterious and the eerie come to life. Tonight, we dive into the shadows to uncover the secrets that lurk beyond the veil. Turn off the lights, keep your eyes peeled, and join us on a journey into the unknown. From the whispers in abandoned halls to the figures seen in the corner of your eye, we leave no stone unturned. What are these echoes from the past trying to tell us? Are we truly alone in the dark? We'll investigate the legends that have haunted humanity for generations, seeking the truth behind the terror. Prepare yourselves, for the line between our world and the next is thinner than you think. Sit back if you dare, as we begin our first investigation. This is Paranormal
I don't want to be a walking ad, so here's all the health things that you need to know that the powers that be probably don't want you to know. Number one is my favorite. Lion's mane has been shown in studies to increase something called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factors, which is essentially a growth rate factor for growing new brain cells and neural connections. So if you are suffering from any neurodegenerative disease or you have bad memory and you want to grow new brain cells, get you some lion's mane. Turkey tail mushrooms. Turkey tail mushrooms have been used alongside chemotherapy in Japan since the 1970s, and what they have found from clinical trials is that if you are undergoing chemotherapy and take turkey tail mushrooms with it, you will have a better recovery, better symptoms, and live a longer life after chemotherapy. D-Minos is a natural and safe UTI prevention and treatment. Black seed oil is an amazing anti-inflammatory, and so many illnesses that Americans suffer from are rooted in inflammation. And also it speeds up your metabolism and it's great for your energy. Magnesium is one of the most abundant minerals in your body. And thanks to our modern farming, most of our food is depleted in minerals that we need. So if you suffer from mental health, anxiety, depression, look up magnesium. We have peer-reviewed studies to show that it helps with mental health. The list goes on. Do you want a part two?
Holy shit. That is so fucking crazy. And that's one person. I bet that's happened to hundreds of doctors, physicians. Wild.
Now, Dr. Burke, your research shows that if all of the United States had been fluoridated, that would mean about 70,000 extra deaths because of cancer per annum. Those are remarkable, impressive, and in fact rather disquieting figures. Could you shortly describe your research in this field and what results did you get from it?
Yes. The 70,000, of course, would represent 1/5 of all the cancer deaths in the United States, twice as many from breast cancer in women, and twice as many as from lung cancer in man. Our studies involve comparing the deaths of all persons in the 10 largest fluoridated cities of the United States with the 10 largest non-fluoridated cities in the United States year by year. And we obtained a very remarkable curve, which you can see here perhaps. Here is the fluoridated, and here is the non-fluoridated set of 10 cities each. Here's where the fluoridation started, and before this time, both sets of cities were identical. But no sooner had fluoridation started than this curve began to go up, the deaths began to increase, so that this effect occurs very promptly within 1, 2, or 5 years.
Now this, sir, is conclusive evidence that fluor kills because of cancer.
It is one of the most conclusive bits of scientific and biological evidence that I have come across in my 50 years in the field of cancer research.
Would this then, in your opinion, be the end of fluor in water, in drinking water?
It should be the end, and in the United States, it should so be the end by federal law known as the Delaney Amendment, which says that anything found to induce cancer in man or animals cannot be legally put into the food or drink of man or animals. And so, and this is all less than 1 year old, so that it entirely changes any previous ideas of fluoridation that anyone may have had, because this is the first real indication of an important effect.
Now, in this country, of course, the state of the dental state of the Union, the way people's teeth look, is incredible indeed. Would you say that stopping fluor had other effects than increasing the dental problems in this country?
Well, I would rather look at it that it would certainly help the cancer death situation in this country, which I'm sure most people would agree is far more important than a temporary benefit to teeth in adolescent children.
Now
this, you see, amounts to public murder on a grand scale. It is a public crime, it would be, to put fluoride in the drinking water of people.
Now, the children of this cameraman and mine, sir, take fluor. Should we stop this immediately?
Well, in my opinion, if they were my children, they would not take it anymore. I can only recommend for myself, but I would suggest to you that they stop it.
Is there a difference in having fluor in drinking water or administering little fluor pills to children?
Well, of course, the little fluor pills are a much smaller proposition than drinking gallons of water per day or per week, as well as taking a bath in it and washing your automobile in it and watering your lawns. That's a very massive thing compared to brushing teeth with fluoridated toothpaste. But our work is immediately concerned with drinking water. What happens to toothpaste, I'm quite willing to let the future studies go into that in more detail.
There is, of course, you talk about murder, sir, an ethical aspect to all this, a law aspect, an aspect of people's inhumanity to people. What is your idea about how should this be implemented in our society? The ethical aspects of administering poison, as it were, to people.
Well, I think this aspect, this murder aspect, clearly indicates a very strong unethical aspect to forcing people to kill themselves.
Know that type 2 diabetes is completely reversible if you do the right stuff. I'm going to tell you about it. Before I start, I'm not saying don't take your medication. You still will have to, at least for a while. You need to learn what you should be focusing on to reverse your diabetes. Every time you eat, your glucose goes up. Every time. And then your body releases an important hormone called insulin. Insulin allows the cells to absorb that glucose for energy. Once all the glucose is out of the bloodstream, your insulin comes down. It usually takes about 3 to 4 hours. We've been told for years to snack and eat every couple of hours. We never give the insulin a chance to come back down, so it stays high all day, every day. This continued high level of insulin overwhelms the cells in your body. Your cells stop listening to the insulin. That's known as insulin resistance. Because your cells aren't listening to the insulin signals, your glucose has nowhere to go. That glucose stays in your bloodstream, your blood sugar starts to go up, and that's the cause of type 2 diabetes. Conventional care addresses blood sugar, but not insulin resistance. Blood sugar is just a symptom. Over time, you can fix this without any medication or prescriptions. How? Eat fiber before meals, intermittent fasting, eat more protein, and eat fewer meals over the day. Follow along for my protocol so you can reverse your insulin.
Tem uma injeção nesse braço aqui, ó. Presta atenção nesse braço aqui. Tá? Ali tá a luz negra. Tá? Então vamos lá, ó. Esse braço aqui. E a luz negra ali. Agora eu vou chegar aqui, ó. Aqui, ó. Aqui é onde eu tomei a injeção, ó. Olha aqui, ó. Isso na vacina, né?
Aqui na sua manifestação inicial.
Aqui, ó.
Mas eu quero citar um artigo do Código de Processo Penal Militar, é o artigo 382, que diz o seguinte:
Meu braço me ficou.
a circunstância ou fato conhecido e provado.
Ó.
Todos esses fatos, o senhor perito,
Tentando pegar.
o engenheiro que aqui já falou,
Ó.
todos eles já trouxeram fatos em contexto da realidade que nenhum de nós desejava.
Ó. Vou sair, ó.
Que conclui o artigo e que impôs a existência de outra circunstância.
Tell you that the sun hurts you, but they don't tell you that in ancient hospitals there were solariums because the sun detoxifies you, giving you electromagnetic energy. They tell you about the magnetic fields of magnets, but they don't tell you about the magnetic field around your body. The disease appears in this field before it manifests itself physically in your body. The sun is electric, the earth is magnetic, and you are electromagnetic. That is why the ancients had earth shoes to connect to the magnetic earth. The sticks were not just for fashion. They were used as conductors of electromagnetic energy to ground the body. Now we wear sunglasses to block the sun's healing rays from entering our nervous system. We have lost the true connection to our nature, being turned into electrical batteries that run through a circuit board matrix. The next stage of human awakening is a revolution of human consciousness. If you don't agree with this video, you are heavily programmed to follow the orders of the elite. And there is nothing wrong with that. We are programmable beings.
You know, when you see society for what it truly is, you fully understand the reason why they started attacking testosterone first. Men's testosterone were one of the first things to be attacked on us as a society. And why, might you ask? Why? Because a society of strong masculine men would not allow what is happening right now to happen. And that's why you see grown-ass men doing twerking, stupid, silly dancing videos on this app. Half of the men are not even men anymore. And that's why the government's getting away with what they're getting away with. Because they've feminized half of society. And they went after masculinity because it's the foundation of a strong, healthy society. And then they went after women because they are the heart and soul of a healthy society as well. And now they're coming after our children because they are the future of our society. That's why there's all these agendas being pushed on our kids in schools and stuff like that. But please make no mistake that there are no coincidences. This has all been fully coordinated. And we've been under attack for a very long time. But the first thing that they needed to attack was the testosterone levels in society.
Conspiracy theories that came true. Geoengineering is a real thing. There has been testimony in front of the United Nations. People like Bill Gates means spraying chemicals out of airplanes in our skies. Things like aluminum and barium that are toxic.
And what is the purpose?
To dim the sun. One of the sources of all life on the planet. They want to dim the sun. Aluminum is toxic to all life forms. It has no biological function, use, anything. And it's neurotoxic. They are spraying neurotoxins on us that we can't avoid, that then go into our crops, that are taken up in our rivers and streams.
The largest consumer health scandal of the 21st century, as undercover footage reveals the highly processed chemical sludge inside your favorite jar of mayonnaise.
You think you're eating a traditional egg condiment, but factories are actually pumping Hellmann's full of cheap, highly inflammatory soybean oil. Worse, to stop this unnatural mixture from separating on the shelf, they inject it with calcium disodium EDTA. This is a synthetic laboratory chemical used in medicine to trap heavy metals, yet food corporations are legally feeding.
The CIA report from 1951 is making its rounds on the internet right now, and it's about the parallels between cancer and parasitic infections. So the study was done by this dude named V.V. Alpatov, and it basically explores how biochemically similar cancer behaves in a way like parasites, worms, shit like that. They both hoard glycogen in the same way, so they both love sugar. They tweak proteins and enzymes to survive, and they show similar enzyme activity patterns. There's a man named Dr. William Mackis in Alberta, Canada. This is all just my opinion. This is all just alleged. Who started a clinic for cancer treatment in Alberta, Canada. And his clinic focused on things like using parasitic treatments and holistic methods for cancer treatment, like ivermectin, fenbendazole, and zero sugar intake. Dr. William Mackis's clinic was shut down for saving so many people's lives. The medical board in Alberta, Canada, which Canada is a dystopian hellhole. They're literally unaliving people who just had a bad day there. You can look all this up. Anyway, the government in Canada is after William Mackis for saving so many people, and they even reached out to him while his practice was still open and offered him his own salary to just close down his clinic because he was saving so many lives. As healthy people don't make you any money. It's almost like our government didn't want us to have this information as a possible treatment for monetary gain. I'm not sitting here and saying that this is the 100% foolproof cure for any of this. But what I will comfortably say are stories like this man's are starting to pop up everywhere, every day. This man, this is on TikTok, this is under the name Bob Birdwell. I don't think that's his name. I think this is the account that posted this video of him. This man, stage 4 colorectal cancer. He sits and tells about a 10-minute story. He went through the traditional medical system of cancer treatment. He was actually finally just released and sent home to die when his brother-in-law came by his house and brought him a bottle of ivermectin and fenbendazole. That man is still alive today to tell that story. It's almost like they don't want us to know this shit.
The 8th, 2024, and I'm listening with interest to the news that AstraZeneca has withdrawn its COVID vaccines due to extremely rare occurrences of blood clots. This is how rare they are. I've seen dozens and dozens of them in my funeral home. They're not rare at all. They're not rare at all. The sooner people wake up and realise en masse what's been done. You know, all these TV presenters and shields that have been promoting it, saying how rare it is. This is how rare it is. You know, it's so rare that I'm finding dozens in a little small family-run funeral home. I've been shouting about it for years. I won't say I told you so.
And so, are they taking fish, like injecting them with that actually happens?
There's 3 ways that they can vaccinate fish. One is they can put the vaccine in the pellets, and they feed them these pellets, these farm fish, with soy and all kinds of things that fish never eat. And then the second thing is they have big vats filled with the vaccine, or a percentage of vaccine that the fish swim around in, and through their gills they take it into their bodies. And the third way is they actually anesthetize the fish, and they actually inject them. They have injectors that they can inject up to 1,000 fish per hour.
Wow.
And they put it into their belly, into their peritoneal area. They actually did a small study of 12 fish, like what happens to the fish after they've been injected. And these fish got sick, and they hung out at the bottom of the pen, and they acted like they were in pain, and the other fish were around protecting them. And then when they harvested the fish, they found that all of their intestines had adhered together, almost like a scar tissue.
Wow.
So now, not only are we contaminating the food we eat, we're really doing harmful things to these people. Can you imagine this little fish is just swimming around just trying to be a fish?
Who knew that fish were having an issue with viruses?
They say Aldi Fresh, but their salads contain bioengineered food ingredients. Their bagels contain bioengineered food ingredients. Not so fresh. No artificial flavors, but it contains bioengineered food ingredients. Even the granola bars or fruit bars contains bioengineered food ingredients.
How big tobacco made junk food insanely addictive. You may not know this, but in the 1980s, tobacco companies Philip Morris and R.J. Reynolds purchased General Mills, Kraft, and Nabisco, makers of processed foods including Oreos, Snackwell crackers, Kraft mac and cheese, Teddy Grahams, Oscar Mayer hot dogs. You know the things I'm talking about. By the early 2000s, in the wake of consumer pressure and negative opinions of these tobacco companies, R.J. Reynolds and Philip Morris exited the processed food world, but not before they had left their mark. During the time that they owned these companies, they used the cigarette, the big tobacco playbook, to make the foods that Kraft, Nabisco, and General Mills made even more hyperpalatable, even more addictive, and that has had a lasting negative impact on the health of Americans ever since. In a recently published study, researchers from UCSF compared 105 foods that were the best-selling products from brands owned by Philip Morris and R.J. Reynolds between 1988 and 2001, with 587 similar products sold by competing brands not owned by tobacco companies. They found that the foods from the tobacco-owned companies were 80% more likely to contain combinations of carbohydrates and salt, making them hyperpalatable, highly addictive, and incredibly difficult to stop eating compared to the foods from the non-tobacco-owned companies. Basically, the tobacco companies were using their knowledge of how to get people addicted to cigarettes and applying it to junk food to make these even more addictive and to make you and your family unhealthier in the process. So what we find today in 2024 is an incredibly hyperpalatable, incredibly addictive, incredibly nutrient-poor set of ultra-processed foods that are available to most Americans. And we now know that a big part of the reason these ultra-processed foods are so addictive is because they were once owned by big tobacco who used their cigarette playbook against you.
Something wonderful happens when you change to...
It is astounding that the telecommunications industry has selected the frequencies out of the huge spectrum of frequencies that are absolutely destructive to ourselves and especially to the pineal gland. You know, they couldn't have made any better choices than 2.4 gigahertz. That the end point that when you have inhale aluminum, as we do from the geoengineering program, and have glyphosate in the food chain, that glyphosate and aluminum combine in the blood and in the gut and in the bloodstream to form 6 different chemical compounds where aluminum and glyphosate are hooked up together, and the end point of that compound is the pineal gland. Published, you know, it's not my idea. And what is needed for this compound to actually enter the brain is to open up the blood-brain barrier, and the current frequencies in the Wi-Fi world are exactly doing that. They open the blood-brain barrier, so toxins that used to stay in the bloodstream and in the body below the neck are now entering the brain very freely. That applies to all toxins, and so it's a new time in that way.
ഇത് ചൂടായി കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ എന്താണ് ഉണ്ടാവാൻ നോക്കാം നമുക്ക്. ഓക്കെ, അപ്പൊ നമ്മുടെ പാനിൽ ഒഴിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഇനി ഇത് കുറച്ചു നേരം ചൂടാൻ വെക്കാം. എന്തായാലും ഇത് ഒന്ന് ചൂടായി വറ്റി വരാനായിട്ട് കുറച്ച് സമയം കൊടുക്കും. അത്ര നേരം നമുക്ക് വെയിറ്റ് ചെയ്യാം. നമ്മുടെ കൊക്കക്കോളയുടെ വറ്റല് പുരോഗമിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്. എന്തായാലും കുറച്ചുകൂടി വെയിറ്റ് ചെയ്യേണ്ടി വരും. ടൈം ഒരുപാട് എടുക്കുന്നുണ്ട് കേട്ടോ. എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നത് വേറെ എന്തോ ഒരു അലുവ പരുവൊക്കെ ആയി എടുക്കുന്നു തോന്നുന്നുണ്ട്. ഇപ്പൊ നല്ല രീതിക്ക് പതഞ്ഞ് നിൽക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. നമ്മുടെ നോൺ സ്റ്റിക് പാൻ ആയതുകൊണ്ട് നമ്മളിങ്ങനെ തള്ളി നീക്കുമ്പോ കണ്ട പദം മാറുന്നത് കാണാൻ പറ്റും. ഓക്കെ, ഇപ്പൊ നമ്മുടെ കൊക്കക്കോളതെ നമ്മള് ചൂടാക്കി ഈ ഒരു പരുവായിട്ടുണ്ട് കേട്ടോ. ടാറ് പരുവായിട്ടുണ്ട്. ടാറ് പരുവ ശരിക്കും കണ്ട ടാറെന്നേ തോന്നുള്ളൂ. ടാറ് നിന്ന് തിളക്കണ പോലെയുണ്ട്. ഇത് ആ ഒരു കുപ്പി മാത്രം കൊക്കക്കോള എടുത്തിട്ടാണ് കേട്ടോ ഇങ്ങനെ കിട്ടിയിരിക്കുന്നത്. സംഭവം നോക്കിയേ, ശരിക്കും നിന്ന് അയ്യോ, ഇതാണ് നമ്മൾ കുടിച്ചോണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന കൊക്കക്കോളയിലുള്ള സംഭവം. കലക്കി ആ ഒരു കുപ്പിന്നാണ് കേട്ടോ ഇങ്ങനെ കിട്ടിയത്. കുറച്ചുകൂടി ചൂടാക്കി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ എന്താവും നോക്കാം. ഓ എന്റെ പൊന്നു, ഇതേ നമ്മുടെ കൊക്കക്കോള തിളപ്പിച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് ബാക്കി വന്നതാട്ടോ. ഇതെന്താ ടാറ് പോലെ ഇരിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. ടാറാന്ന് തോന്നുന്നു. നമ്മുടെ കൊക്കക്കോള ചൂടാക്കി ഇത് ഈ അവസ്ഥയിൽ എത്തിയിട്ടുണ്ട് കേട്ടോ. ഇത് നമ്മളിത് എടുത്താട്ടി തരാം.
reduces the size of internal cancerous tumors.
I thought sun causes cancer.
Well,
everybody
actually,
says stay out of the sun because it causes cancer.
That's right. They did a study at Baylor University where they took 2 groups of experimental animals. They gave one the standard American diet, which is terrible. They gave the other one a highly nutritious diet. Then they exposed both groups of animals to the ultraviolet rays of the sun. In the group on the standard American diet, 25% got skin cancer. In the group on the highly nutritious diet, not one animal got skin cancer. It's the way we're eating. Skin cancer is a relatively new phenomenon in the last 60 years or so, and yet our ancestors for hundreds of years had been living outdoors, working outdoors, and they didn't get skin cancer.
I will never let my baby girl wear Crocs again. Crocs, most foam shoes, are made of petrochemical-based EVA foam. Doesn't sound like a big deal, but when they heat up in the sun, you're at the beach, they're in the park, it's hot out, well, they off-gas these toxic chemicals, phthalates, VOCs, and even PFASs. And kids, they absorb so much through their skin, especially through the soles of their feet. Here's the kicker. In traditional Chinese medicine, the feet have about 60 energy points connected to the brain, the heart, the liver, the kidneys. Her feet matter to me. Her health matters. And foam footwear, it's not worth the risk. So instead, we choose natural breathable materials. Leather, cork, and organic soles. Protect your kid from the ground up. I'm Drew Canoli, and here's my promise. I'm not gonna stop until I transform 100 million people and help them break free from the matrix of man.
Not one of my friends has children. 0. No one. No one's having kids. Do you know how hard you need to abuse a mammal to make them not have children? Like for real. Let's step here back a moment, right?
Never thought of it that way.
Yeah, look, GDP goes up. People have have enough food, and whatever. No one's having kids, and this is across the world. This is across both the West, the East, everywhere it's happening. So there's a thing that happens, especially with younger even younger than me. Like the kids are like 18 today. There's a huge problem where they don't dance. No one dances. They go to clubs and they don't dance. Why is this? Because you get recorded.
Yeah.
If you're an 18-year-old kid, you go to a club, you get recorded. If you approach a girl and you mess it up, you get recorded. Everything is the panopticon now. Yeah. So if you had to ask me why, my answer is technology. My answer is social media. My answer is AI. My answer is algorithms. Do you know what dating app algorithms do? Do you know how they optimize? They don't optimize to you to meet your love of your life. They optimize you to keep coming back to the app.
Yeah.
And now there's a thing that basically we have sold out all of our dating norms, all of our interpersonal norms to tech companies without our consent to optimize their ad algorithm. Right. I think there's a deep thing where we as a society have not dealt with the fact that we have to steward technology responsibly. We have treated technology as a Wild West.
Absolutely.
Just everyone can do whatever they want. Just sell all of our younger generation's dating lives to corporations for profit. And who pays the cost for this? Who has liability? So I think the real problem is that we are, as a society, as a government, the generations that came before me, and also my generation, I don't want to exclude myself from this, but also the generation came before me, just let technology rip. The promise was, if you let technology rip, if you let internet rip, there will be democracy and freedom and happiness and economic growth. And where is that? And I think my generation is noticing that broken promise.